Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 19. My name is Asin Raza. We're going to take a break today from real estate and talk about the Raptors championship anniversary. I got three of my good friends here. I've got Stephen A. Smith, a.k.a. Kumail Meghani, Chris Broussard, a.k.a. Abbas Jaffrey, and you would be good for Chris Carter, maybe, a.k.a. Sajjad
Chris
Saeed.
Carter, wow, old school.
Welcome, guys, to the show. Want to talk about the anniversary, 40th anniversary of the Raptors championship. Obviously, we're all great fans. We love the Raptors, despite what's happening this year, but I think we can all kind of take away what happened 4 years ago. So first question I have for you guys is, what was the defining moment for you guys when that buzzer rang and the Raptors won? What was going through your minds? Start with you.
I think what was going through my mind was that we finally accomplished something as a city in basketball, because for years we'd always watch, and it was just a matter of time. First it was make the playoffs, then we get to the second round. Then everyone who remembers Vince Carter's shot, should he have gone to the graduation and all that. We're always left, with this taste in our mouths that it's like we're good, but we're never good enough. Yeah. So when that happened, it was like, yes, we are a great city. We are world class. And we hadn't had a major championship, because I don't think the Argos really count, but we hadn't had a championship since what, like 91 or 92, 93, right? Yeah. I mean, the 905 won. I went to that parade. There's like 50 people there, so it was a major championship. Yeah. And it brought people together, especially people from immigrant backgrounds. Because hockey, there's always hockey around, but basketball was something that we participated in. We played, we met the players, we related to them, and I think it was just something that mentally you now believe that you can go and accomplish anything that you put your mind to, regardless of who the competition is.
100%. Which one did you have higher, the Argos or the 905?
The 905.
The 905?
Because the Argos,
to put that out there.
No disrespect, but I have a tough time tracking who the players are.
Yeah.
And the 905, at least, that championship team had a lot of guys that ended up playing. Fred.
Exactly.
Norm played a little bit on that year. Pascal. The development that happened in Mississauga was amazing. So I think that even Chris Boucher had put time there that season as well. So I mean, that was like, you get to go watch world-class basketball at like pennies for the dollar, right? Yeah. It's like undervalued real estate, right?
You have to tie in real estate somehow. So
yeah. So I mean, I always tell people who live in the 905 area, and you've got the Raptors that play there. Now across from the mosque I go to, Masmin Islamic Center, we have the Brampton Honey Badgers in the CBL. I'm rocking the Scarborough Shooting Stars hat today, though, but I love the league. But right on Kennedy Road there, you've got world-class basketball where you can go sit courtside, meet the people, and a lot of these guys will go and play in other leagues. Right. And the experiences that you get during games now, the guys will come back and visit and interact. So actually meeting some of the players when they're up and coming, that's an invaluable experience.
Nice. Abbas, your thoughts when they won?
Honestly, I think to sum it up, the word is disbelief. Yeah. I couldn't believe that we won a championship, and I still can't believe it. I look back, at the photos and the videos. I mean, you'll go to YouTube and you'll see the Kawhi shot against Philly. You'll see them beating Milwaukee. They're down 2-0, and then they won 4 in a row. Yeah. They beat Milwaukee, and then actually winning the championship. Because I remember that last game, they were missing key free throws down the stretch. Yeah. And you didn't want to see me at that point. I was with my family, and my family would look at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I go, "You don't get it. Just stop." When they would miss a free throw, I'd be so upset. I'd be clapping when they missed a free throw. I'd be like, "Good job, guys. Good job." I was so upset. And then when they actually won, I was in utter shock. And I still am. I can't believe it, because the Raptors were always known down south as an irrelevant franchise. Their U.S. media, unfortunately, has said they're the most irrelevant team in the NBA, or probably sports, whatever. So we always thought that if they ever win a championship, they're beating the entire country of the United States, right? And so when that happened, I couldn't believe it. And honestly, sometimes you need luck on your side, man. Yeah. And people say, oh, you got a rental player one time, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's how championships work sometimes, man. That's how it is. You have to do what you have to do. So honestly, I can't believe we won an NBA championship, because you grow up watching basketball, you see all these teams, right? Like if you grew up watching the '90s, you saw the Bulls era, and then you move over to Lakers, and then you move over to all these different teams, and you would never think your team would be holding the Larry O'Brien at the end, man. So that disbelief, that shock, to me it's still there to today, and I love it. I love the fact that it hasn't settled in yet, even though it's been 4 years. But disbelief is a key word for me.
No, for me, very similar, especially because at our age, where we're kind of like, still in our youth, but we're kind of in the adult zone. But it was like we've been waiting since we were children, right, for them to win the championship.
I know.
And when they were first, the Raptors first came out, 94, 95. And then just watching Isaiah go through that poster, and that's when I became a fan. And then seeing them win, like we were together, right? And my brother was me too, and he's like 7 at the time, and he was in tears, right? So that was a good experience. But
real tears.
Real tears, yeah. He took off his shirt, just started waving around. He was in tears.
Long week, man. We went from Jean Tabak to a championship.
Pretty much, yeah. So for me, that was like disbelief, but it was so much fun at the parade too, and then just seeing the players there, and then just kind of having that connection with Lowry and Siakam and even Kawhi.
Right.
But still, disbelief for me too, man. What about you?
It was surreal. I'm kind of with you guys with the disbelief, because when we, I've never experienced the Toronto championships. I wasn't here in 92, 93. Never watched it, never saw it. And being a Toronto fan, every sport following Toronto, and you watch them and you're like, we know we're going to make the playoffs sometimes, but we know we're not going to win the championship. Right? There's going to be a heartbreak at some point. Right. At some, I can tell you right now, even when Kawhi hit that shot against Philly, I didn't have an emotion. I didn't have any emotion.
You're numb at that point.
I'm like, okay, he hit a game 7 buzzer beater, but we're losing the next series. Like it was just it had to be broken, and when it broke, and I was just sitting, I was there. It was surreal. I was obviously celebrating, but I didn't know at that time what I was celebrating.
Right.
It was such a monumental time for Toronto.
Huge.
Right? And then I don't know, like right away afterwards, we're like, the expectations are now raised. It is championship or bust. Right? Now we're not happy. Like we had back in the day, we have a season like we had this past season where we were kind of fighting for the playoffs, fighting for the play. We'd be excited.
Right.
This year, no one was excited with the team. We're like,
we're spoiled.
We're spoiled. After one championship,
we want more. Absolutely. Especially like with the other sports teams, like the Leafs, for example, so much heartbreak, right? After season after season,
they
season
did
after
win
season.
the first round series this year.
Oh, it's a miracle. Where's the parade? We should have had a parade for that. But
I think there was a mini parade. I think there was.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, people were out on the streets after that series.
Exactly. We want Florida, right? And then just facing all that heartbreak, and then finally facing like tasting a championship after, like you said, 92, 93, right? Literally, like almost 20 years. 20 years? 30 years. No, 20 years.
Well, when it happened.
That's why I'm not a math major. Anyways,
29.
So
20 years.
But it's a long time coming. So when you face that much heartbreak from a sports team, especially when Toronto's known as a hockey city and the Leafs are such a major market, for that to transition to the Raptors and making the moves that they did, like getting Kawhi, like we were so upset, like DeMar's gone, I can't believe it, Kawhi rental, blah blah blah, because Kawhi had all that baggage in San Antonio. We weren't sure what to expect. And we win a championship, right? Like I always say, championship forgives all. Championship just erases everything in the past, you know?
Except Vince.
Huh?
Except Vince.
Except Vince.
He's not forgiven.
So these kind of moves, man. This kind of heartbreak that our city has felt, just felt like it was gone for that moment, man. So it was great.
What do you guys think, like in terms of the players at the time for that run? Like who were some of the guys that, like Kawhi had his flowers, but who were some of the guys that you felt were like the unsung heroes, the X factors that really made an impact to help us win?
Well, I would say, Marc Gasol, that addition, leadership, defensive presence that he brought, especially against Embiid.
Right.
That was vitally important because Valanciunas was a great player, but his track record suggested that he wouldn't be healthy. And if I remember correctly, he did go down. He didn't play, the whole. I mean, he went down.
There's no way he could have guarded Embiid that way.
I think that's why you had to make a bold move. And the problem is a lot of people always say, oh, they ruined their future. But how many teams would trade, a future? Like look at a team like, Houston, right? They're constantly retooling. They gave up everything to try to win a championship. And now, they're constantly, playing for next year, right? But with the Raptors, we've been able, aside from the COVID year, I mean, that shouldn't really be counted when they're in the bubble. But we've had a competitive team, and we have stars that are being developed every year, and if we're always in trade rumors. Everyone wants our guys, right? That's a testament to the development, the process that we had, and I think that's what's been lacking the past couple of years because we gave up so much. The 905 weren't restocked, right? We didn't have draft picks going and spending time there that had that potential, right? And there's now, hopefully we'll have a better level of consistency there. But that was I forget what offseason, I think it was a 16 or 17 offseason, maybe a little bit before when they brought the 905. They bought the rights to play basketball from the Mississauga Power of the NBL. And people weren't excited, but everyone knew, like internally, that was the biggest move because now they could develop their own talent, run the same systems. Prior to that, we were loaning to other teams in the G League.
I think it's a testament to like even the management, right? Like Masai and his crew. So again, like I know this year isn't the way it was supposed to go, but like they're by far the most professional organization, I think, in the NBA. And you can argue that, but just the way they handle things year after year, like there's a reason why we won. Like you said, like luck does come into play, but sometimes hard work creates luck too, right? So,
Well, and I think that just to scale it back a little bit, Masai was brought in by Tim Luecki. Tim Luecki was here, I don't know, a year, 18 months. And I like to call him like a championship consultant. They brought him in. And now the ironic thing is every single team in MLSE has won. The Baby Leafs, the Baby Raptors, TFs, all of them, but the Maple Leafs. So Maple Leafs Sports Entertainment has done amazing, but the Leafs need some kind of savior, which they've been looking for.
They need Masai.
That might do it, right? But no,
this is supposed to be a happy podcast.
No, I mean it's just Luecki, the things that he instilled and the people that they brought in, the whole culture of the organization ripples down.
It really did start with Luecki. Like it did start with that. Like this entire run of success for the Raptors, it was right there. Right. I think the Raptors. And we talk about the Leafs, like we've touched on the Leafs a little bit, just saying it's a Leaf City. When the Raptors won and just before that as well, it's turning. When it comes to the core of the city where we were talking about, it's turning. It's more basketball than hockey, right?
Well, basketball,
it's turning. I don't think it's there yet.
I don't think it's there yet.
Like
but
if by the grace of God, a big miracle, the Leafs win the cup, that parade is going to be bigger than I think the Raptors.
Well,
at this point. I think so. I personally think so still. But at the same time, it is turning because I'll tell you, just to add on to your point, like for example, this surgence we see of Canadian basketball players entering the draft, right? That is an effect of the Raptors 20 years ago. Like you're going to hate this, but Vince Carter, when he brought the Raptors on the map, that effect that he had on the team, which propelled the popularity of the Raptors and popularity of the sport of basketball to what we see today. We see Andrew Wiggins, right? We see all these champions. We see Jamal Murray, right? All these Canadians, who are going for top 10 in the draft, right? Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like these guys who are coming up, it's because of the Vince effect. Now they win a championship. You watch what happens 20 years from now.
It's going to be massive.
You know what I mean? I think it's turning. I don't think it's there yet. If the Raptors keep doing what they're doing in Canadian basketball in general, it will overpower the Leafs because what's happening is this generation, they don't know what the Leafs were back in the day, like mid-90s and stuff like that. All they see are the Raptors winning. And that's what fans want. They want to see championships. They want to see teams winning. So when you have one organization in the city who keeps losing and one organization that keeps winning and making the playoffs and making deep runs, automatically, like naturally, you're going to progress towards that team and support that sport in general. So I think we're not there yet. I think it's very close, but I think maybe 15, 20 years down the road, if the Leafs keep sucking the way they do and the Raptors keep making moves like this, I think it'll turn.
Well, basketball is so much more accessible from a cost perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And I think that's why.
It is a cheap.
And that's why
we would play road hockey, but to play like hockey. I came from a family of 6 kids. If one kid played hockey, we might not have had like money to survive on, right?
Right.
So with basketball, literally, you'd buy basketball or you'd even get a gift of an old one from a friend. You have shoes already. And then in the 90s, when the Raptors came, they started putting a lot of money into the school systems to get basketball nets. Now you go to some of the most of the kids' schools and they're playing basketball, right? They're not even like the baseball fields. You know, they're starting to come back, you know, the Jays Foundation, all that, but they're become, like at my old elementary school, both baseball fields, they're not baseball fields. They're just fields now.
Yeah.
They got rid of the
Right.
the diamond and all that. So, but you see basketball nets everywhere.
I'd say like it's taken over, man. Like across the GTA right
yeah,
now, it's literally taken over.
Right.
I think even the people that we know, the communities and that we're involved with, like basketball is becoming greater and greater. But let's get through these. There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about,
I want to talk about some more stuff about the
Wait,
Raptors
the
championship.
flowers. Okay, you got Marc Gasol. Who do you got for the flowers?
Yeah.
Honestly, so I was gonna pick Mark, but the second player I would say is Pascal. Like especially during that time,
Yeah.
because Pascal was in his perfect role, I think, right?
That was his ideal role.
That was his
Yeah,
ideal role,
yeah.
right? Like, and he was growing, and he had Kawhi to look up to, he had Kyle to look up to,
Yeah.
he had Mark to look up to, right? So he was a key piece in that championship, right? And I think that is a testament to Masai's kind of, he has the eye for the skill. You know what I mean? Like Masai has made bold moves before he even came to Toronto. Like if you remember that Carmelo Anthony trade in Denver, he traded to New York for a whole bunch of players, and like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, they actually became more successful.
Right.
And,
That was him.
I think he did the Bargnani trade.
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Can you believe that? He got rid of Bargnani. Like, I mean, it was a miracle.
Yeah.
Right? And then he brings in guys like Pascal, Fred
Yeah.
VanVleet, undrafted guys, right? Guys like Fred is undrafted. Pascal went deep in the first round.
Yeah.
And you're like, where are these guys coming from,
Yeah.
right? And then Pertolamian had a decent role, but he got traded. But Pascal, Fred, these guys are key, right? And then, like, for example, when he made the Rudy Gay trade, you know what I mean? Like, he just has a certain eye for that talent. And he put Pascal in a good spot where he can grow. Now, unfortunately, because the bubble came, and then we know what happened, and then he's still kind of trying to recover, and I think he's done a great job by making third-team NBA. But honestly, like, Pascal's role on that team was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, his role is, you know, coming off the bench and all that stuff and looking at who he look up to. I think his role had a big play in there.
Agreed.
I'm going to pick a guy who wasn't on the team, all right? And he deserves his flowers. It's Fred VanVleet Jr.
Yeah.
He turned the fortunes around for us.
He did. He did.
You know, he came on board, and that was it. Our fortunes turned, because I don't think we get there without Fred VanVleet's heroics through the Milwaukee series and going into Golden State. He went nuclear after that.
He did.
And you know, I think we're going to come to that question in a little bit, but he was absolutely, you know, I think the easier answer, you know, we can obviously say Kawhi, we can say Lowry, but, you know,
unsung heroes, right?
And we're talking about the unsung heroes. I think Mark is a great, you know, example of that. Pascal growing into that role. And honestly, Pascal went against Draymond Green. That's not an easy task in that series. And he gave it to Draymond a couple of those games, right? In the finals. But for me, I think Fred VanVleet.
Junior or Fred
Junior.
VanVleet?
Well, Junior is the reason Fred VanVleet is getting his flowers, I guess.
Fair enough. I think for me, like all the guys you said, so I'm not going to repeat that. But the next question I have for you guys is, seeing Kawhi's run in that championship, where would you put that run amongst the greatest runs in NBA history? Like, how good was that run? Was it the best? Was it one of the best? Was it just talk about how amazing he was? And without him, obviously, we don't win it. But what were your thoughts on that specific run that Kawhi had in that playoff series?
So I think in number of points, like in a run, I think he's second after Jordan and that run, right? So, you know, it's up there. But I think for me, it's not actually about the points or the stats. It's the belief that Kawhi brought to this franchise, right? This city, is he knew like things are done a certain way to get to that championship level. The Raptors never had that. The Raptors didn't have a guy to get them there when he came, right? Is you know, just because there's 4 points and you got 13 seconds, you know, he's telling guys to calm down, nothing's done yet, right? We got to do it. Like that, you know, we talk about the Philly series. After that free throw miss and Butler went down and hit that layup to tie the game, incredible, right? But Butler's kind of, you know, he's one of those guys. He's just a dog, right?
Especially this season we saw.
And we saw it again, right? But that's what Kawhi brought. Kawhi brought a sense of calm, right? And I think that's why it's one of the great. I don't know where I would rank it personally. Like, you know, I think it's top 5 for sure, right? In terms of, hey, it's one guy, you know, and he brought that sense of urgency, calmness, right? And that championship ability, right? And I think there are other guys like that too. I think having a Danny Green was absolutely huge, even though he didn't have the greatest series. He, you know, again, somebody who has that championship experience. I think Marc Gasol is another guy who just, you know, you knew you had somebody back there, right? So in that sense, it's one of the greatest runs. Again, I can't rank it. I think it's top 5, but it's not because of the stats. It's because of everything else that was brought
Exactly.
The mentality.
back. The mentality.
Exactly.
How about you?
Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, I'd have to go back to my Rolodex of history in my brain to see where to rank it, but it's just like, man, it's hard to like even put into words, but like that again, I'm gonna go back to disbelief. Like like you had, like you said, like you have that closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's a good word for it.
okay. Guess what, man? Philly tied it, but we still have Kawhi. Give it to Kawhi and just let him run with it, right? Some guys you just give the ball and you back away,
That's
right?
it.
And that's what happened. That's what Kawhi was, that kind of guy. Give the ball, back away. When he left, we kind of. And we never really filled that void, right? Like, who's the closer of the team now?
Right.
Okay, we tried a couple guys. Like, Fred has hit some key shots. I think Kyle hit some key shots before he left. But, that kind of peace and serenity that, okay, you know what? We got our superstar. We're going to ride or die with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? That we haven't had since. I mean, I probably agree with you, top 5, if I have to really answer the question. Yeah. Although, like, Joker's run this finals has, like, that just, I don't know, that kind of puts things in a different perspective altogether. But it's like, when we were down 2-0 against Milwaukee, right, in the Eastern Conference Finals, like we got blown out in game 2. Yeah. Blown out. We're like, okay, it's over. And then Kawhi went to Nick Nurse. He's like, you know what? I got Giannis.
Yeah, that was.
And then they build a wall. It was game over. It was game over. 4 in a row.
And we were down in game 3 too.
Yeah, we were down in game 3. Exactly.
Right?
Double OT game.
Yeah.
That series could have easily been over.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
absolutely. But that's what Kawhi has, and like, it's the greatest run in Raptors history for sure. Overall in NBA, I think I'd have to put top 5. I really have to think about it, because it'd be like, when you have to look at finals, you have to look at, okay, what did Jordan do? What did Kobe do? What did LeBron do when he was down 3-1? What did all these great players do? Steph, right? Yeah. These guys in their roles. But Kawhi's like, he came, won, gone. Like, that impact, like that just it wasn't over a time of period. He came, conquered, and unfortunately he left. Yeah. But just in that short period of time, what he did left a huge impact, right? Yeah. So that's because I think you have to put a top 5.
I think that's a good point, right? He was brought in almost like a championship consultant, taught them to win, did his thing and left.
I like that.
I went to the city social that year, and you're able to take pictures and interact with all the players. Serge was there, Mark, and all the new guys. Jeremy Lin, he served me a drink, Coke or something. It was a good time. And then even Masai was there. But the interesting thing with Danny Green and Kawhi, they were like guarded, and they were only, Kawhi literally stayed for like 10 minutes, took the pictures, and he left. Yeah. Like a celebrity would. Yeah. And then Danny Green, they left him to talk to, some of the big sponsors, and then he left as well. Wow. So you could tell that they were just there to work, and then they were gone. And that's, kind of what happened.
Just clock in and clock out.
But I remember there's one, I don't know if it was exhibition or early in the season, there was one play, some guy was going for a layup, and Kawhi blocks it, and then Danny Green blocks it as well. And that's the defensive presence alone, that mentality, I think was what we were lacking, right? Yeah. Right. We were great during the regular season, but, come time for the playoffs, it just, nothing connected. Right? Yeah. Nothing would come together, and luck wouldn't even work on our side, right? But God, thanks God, everything kind of went our way. But that's just how it works sometimes, right? A lot of people say, oh, if they didn't get injured, well, when the Golden State won their first one, LeBron had Matt Dellavedova playing like 40 minutes, right? So we can go back in history and keep on saying that, but the fact is, staying healthy is one of the most important things. And one of the personnel just mentioned very quickly that was connected very closely to Kawhi was the director of sports science, Ted McKechnie. If you go Google him, he was brought in from the Lakers. He used to work with Shaq exclusively. Then he started working with the Lakers. I met him at a city social back in like 14 or 15. He had the championship ring. I didn't know who he was. Very humble, very great guy, Canadian as well, I believe. He spent time with, he was friends with Jay Triano. And he was talking about how even with Kobe and Shaq, they took a very proactive approach to keeping them healthy. Yeah. And I don't think we give enough attention or recognition to sometimes the staff behind who kept him healthy. And as soon as he left Toronto, look at how many games that he missed and key things that he wasn't there for. So
those guys are just as important as the players, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Some guys that I think I guess deserve recognition. Serge Ibaka, Game
100%.
7, Philly, when he scored, I think, 16 points. Like, the threes he hit in the fourth quarter was so clutch.
He was very consistent.
He was.
Like, even against Milwaukee, like, just very consistent off the bench.
And he kept the mood, he kept
just
that
cool
mood really
and funny. And then we had, like, Norman Powell, who in the Milwaukee series hit some big threes.
Yeah.
Freddie in the Philly series sucked, but when Freddie Jr. was born, he turned it on. And then we also had Kyle Lowry. Like, we got to talk about Lowry, right? So I think without Lowry, we don't win the championship.
No,
I think
of course
he was so integral to that team.
Yep.
I think Game 6, the finals, where he just went off for like 21
when he
points in
started
that game.
the game off on fire.
But like, what do you guys think of Kyle? How important was he in that championship run? And like, I miss him, man. Like, I really miss him.
Yeah.
And it sucks to see him play the way he's playing. It's age, I guess. Father time has caught up.
Right.
But I think he was at his prime in that series, and I love seeing him play. What were your thoughts on Lowry? And
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the Raptors during that era, DeMar, no question, but Lowry was still that guy that, he'd hit those shots. He had that swagger. Nice guy, family man. Like, he was great. And it's interesting, we were praising Masai, but Masai almost got rid of him, right? Remember New York,
James
Dolan, we got to thank him.
Yes.
So sometimes you get lucky with things like that. But, when
Right.
I met him on a few occasions, he's a class act. And the other thing that I really liked about Lowry is there was a connection to Damon Stoudemire, right? When Stoudemire went out with Memphis, it was Lowry that came and played. So there's a natural, there's a great connection there. And then lastly, we mentioned all these guys, but even the guys they signed to fill up the roster, we had Jeremy Lin. I mean, didn't get much minutes, but just that, that whole insanity was awesome. And he had those big games in Toronto. And then Pat McCaw, and he became a three-time NBA champion. I think that's the last person.
You got thoughts about Pat McCaw?
Yeah, well, just quickly and very quick. When I went to the City Social, I played 2K with him.
Yeah.
He made one adjustment. We played Raptors against Raptors. He took out whoever the two guard was. I guess it was Danny Green. He put himself. So that was an interesting. And he ended up beating me by like 1 point and a quarter. But there was the cast that they assembled. They were, it was pretty, they brought people in that had, some kind of winning and, connection to success, right? And having a guy that had just won two, even if he wasn't a key component, it still, brings that energy into the locker room.
Okay. Let me ask you a different question, Abbas. So we talked about the parade, the championship run. That was all great. But do you feel slighted that Kawhi was one and done and left?
Yeah, it hurt. I mean, you thought. The thing is with Kawhi was the only move that would make sense was for him to go to LA because it's home. That's it. That's it. Like, there are rumors about him going to Philly, right? And if he went to Philly, I would have just, you guys would probably see me. I probably would have moved from the city. Like, it would have been really, really bad. But yeah, you're slighted, especially when you see how he's playing since he left. Just hasn't been the same guy.
Right.
It's like, you know what, man? If you stayed in Toronto, you could have won multiple championships, right? Because Kyle was still there. The core was still there. Only he left, right? And
Danny left when
too.
when Kawhi signed.
Right.
Otherwise, he was coming back too.
Yeah,
right? So they were going to run it back.
Kawhi was the nucleus, right? And there were rumors that he wanted Paul George to come, but and he wanted Pascal gone and all these.
Maybe negotiation tactics.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
And thank God that didn't work out, right? Because unfortunately, just the Clippers line hasn't worked out. Injuries, all this load management stuff. But I was slighted. I gotta admit. I mean, they say that don't be sad it's over, just be happy that it happened, type of thing. So I'm still like on that verge. But what if he stayed? You know, because I find that a lot. Like, people who leave Toronto, they don't see the same success that they had in Toronto, right? Vince, right? Look at Vince, right? Look at Kawhi, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a whole
even T-Mac, like he had a great career,
T-Mac,
but
I disagree with you there. I think
Really?
the guys who like Vince went to the finals, right? Or the Western, Eastern Conference Finals with the Nets, because he was with Jason Kidd and Richard Jefferson.
Well, I mean,
and he had great seasons.
I think he's known for his time with the Raptors. You know what I mean? Like, when you look back.
No, absolutely.
That's what I look at. Like,
No,
what
no.
are you known for?
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But with T-Mac, then he's known for
Yeah,
Orlando
that's why I
and,
bring up T-Mac as an example.
and
I
Houston,
think,
right?
yeah.
Even
we never got the first round though. So that's, to me,
Like, I think T-Mac, when you look back, you don't look at his time with the Raptors. But I think with Vince, you look back
because he was
at
young
the
at
Raptors.
that time.
Even with Kawhi, like, sure, he spent majority of his career in San Antonio, and then one season in Toronto, and then the rest with the Clippers. But if you think of Kawhi, they'd be like, you know what? He won a championship in Toronto.
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that.
No?
No.
I
He
mean,
won- what he won twice in
Huh?
San Antonio before that?
No, once. He won
Once in San Antonio before
Well,
that?
he did win one, but the thing is, the effect that he had
Yeah.
with Toronto, I don't know. The Kawhi's just.
I think
he was the star,
it
too.
matters more for us. I think that's the
Well,
difference.
you have
but
one
but if you look at a
team, right?
larger scale,
Yeah.
I I'm not gonna remember Kawhi like with Toronto. Like he's not.
No?
You know, if he's going for Hall of Fame, he's not wearing a
No,
a
he's not going to
Raptors
wear a
shirt.
Raptors jersey
Yeah.
for sure. But
Yeah.
since Toronto, what happens, right? Is that I
Yeah.
think the impact they have on Toronto after they leave Toronto, the impact is higher in Toronto than compared to the teams they'll leave afterwards. Like I think that what he's been done with the Clippers, I'm sorry, I think it's a failure. Right? I don't
time.
think that when you look back at his
Well,
career.
to be fair, anyone with the Clippers
Well, yeah.
because even the locals don't.
No, but
really
even
care.
down 3-1 in the bubble and then
Yeah.
losing against Denver, like these
Yeah.
kind of things, and then
Yeah.
just load management, and then
Yeah.
all the injuries. It's just like deep. Like this season in the playoffs, just gone because of injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's okay. So honestly, I think they would have beaten the Suns in that series if Kawhi stays healthy. Like he was dominating that
was,
series.
yeah.
And when it comes to the playoffs, like when you actually look at his stats in the playoffs, just in general,
Yeah.
he is on another level.
Yeah.
Like he does coast during the regular season. So his regular season means nothing. And
Practice, like you said. Right?
yeah, and that's the thing. Like when he came here, he was like, yeah, like he was taking games off, and in the media they were talking about, are they going to be able to build chemistry enough for the playoffs? Is this another Masai failure where he's going to be here for a year, lose in the second round, then he's gone, and you traded all these assets away for Kawhi, right? And again, that's that sense of, hey, you need to know what's important.
Yeah.
As you're kind of going throughout the season. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Where if they leave Toronto, I think it's closer to us, so it feels like that. But I mean, Norman Powell's still putting up 20 points a game, right, off the bench for the Clippers. So he's still a successful player.
He is. But do
you
you
know?
think Norman Powell's gonna be known for his time with the Clippers or the Raptors?
I mean, if the
The big
Clippers
scheme
win,
of
I think
things.
if the Clippers win,
If
I think
they
it's
win,
yeah.
right?
That's
I'm talking about right now. Yeah, you have to assess the whole situation, right? Like
Yeah,
I
but-
honestly think
but it's hard
Vince is known as
in
for
the
his time
middle,
in
yeah.
Toronto than any
Well,
other
the dunk
team.
contest, he can never
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
take that
Personally,
away.
like,
right?
Vince is
Yeah.
a great example. T-Mac, I think, is not known for Toronto because his role in Toronto was that big, and he played couple seasons. It's not that big, but even Kyle, like what you think Kyle's gonna be known for now, or before in Houston or
They don't
Miami?
even like him in Miami.
Like, he's not gonna be known for
But-
Houston or
but I
Miami.
think-
It's
but-
gonna be in Toronto.
Yeah,
right?
but we're talking about guys who are like late 30s with Kyle Lowry. When DeMar left, he was in his late 20s. He spent the entire career in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Kawhi is going to be remembered for his time in Toronto. The one thing we're going to remember is he won as a very clear number one on a team.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like, yeah, he won a championship. But when we look at the entire landscape of the NBA, they're not going to be like, oh, the Toronto legend Kawhi Leonard. That's not going to be a thing.
I agree with that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I think that he's since they leave. My point is that when they leave Toronto, I think they don't see as much success as they did in Toronto after Toronto.
Whether or not he's remembered for that, like for me personally, I always feel like when you win a championship, you got to give your team one more chance. So even if you signed a 1 year contract, 1+1, and you stayed for one more year, because the team in the bubble, like you and I talk about this, that team, if they made the finals, they beat the Lakers, in my
100%.
opinion. They beat the
100%.
Lakers.
Absolutely.
Right?
They were going to beat the Heat in the
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Finals.
For sure.
And then they were going to get to the finals and beat the Lakers.
And the Celtics series would have been, I think they would have won in 5 or 6 games. That's how good they were. But moving on to a couple more questions, Kumail. American media talks about Durant, if he played, the Raptors would have lost. Do you think that if Durant played, we had a chance to win still?
Did we have a chance? Absolutely.
We did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It did, like that Raptors team, if you look at it as a whole, first of all, I think one guy we haven't mentioned at all is Nick Nurse, right?
Yeah.
He was also instrumental in elevating that team, right? And all respects to Dwayne Casey, he was a great developmental coach. Nick Nurse also kind of broke that barrier and said, he's out there running high school defenses and beating NBA teams with it, right? Now,
Box and one.
yeah, exactly. You're running box and one in the
You
finals.
talked to the other players about that?
Yeah.
They hated that.
So and you see the respect from guys from around the league, right? Like Durant's commented on it, Bradley Beal has commented on it, Steph Curry's commented. Just
How long was he unemployed for? Right, like he got fired from Toronto within like 2 or 3 weeks. He's already got a job with Philly. So that's a testament to the coach he is.
That's
right?
like It's like Hogan going to WCW. Like, I don't know if you guys are wrestling fans, but
Yes.
oh my God, man. Like when you went to WCW, it's like you're going to the enemy,
Yeah.
man. You're WWF all day, man. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Nah, I thought you were gonna go something completely different. It's gonna be like, your ex, and it goes to your op, and you're like,
That too.
But you think they could have beat?
I'm not saying they'd be the favorites, but I think there's absolutely
chance.
they absolutely had a chance. And I personally, at that time, I thought they would win the series just because I thought our defense was playing at an exceptional level. Now, throughout the series, that little time that Durant was there, he kind of showed that he's still Durant, right? Like, it makes it really difficult, right? Like having Durant, Clay, Steph on the same team on offense. And I think for me, Steph Curry is the greatest offensive threat in the NBA, right? When it comes to his gravity, I don't think there's a player better than that ever in the NBA. Like you need to guard him out there at 30, but he's got handles enough to take you to the rim, pass the ball, and he moves constantly, right? So it makes it really difficult. But I think they had a shot. I think and it's the same thing. I think this year, I think Kawhi beats the Suns, even though they had Booker,
if he's healthy,
CP3 and Durant. There was just a different playoff. Kawhi is different.
Yeah.
So I think that was going to be one of the biggest differences.
Cool. Last question on the Raptors topic now. Rapid fire. What was the one moment in that entire playoff run that was your favorite moment, Sajjad?
It has to be the shot, right?
Shot? Okay.
Because I remember I was at my dad's house with my siblings. It was during Ramadan, and we're like casually watching, and it's like, oh man, overtime, we're gonna lose. And then I was like, hold on, it's bouncing, and then you're like, and is this the dagger? And it's like, oh my God. It just reminded me of like when Carter, hit the home run, and it was to Philly as well, right? So Philadelphia sports fans don't really like the Toronto teams.
Right, that was against
yeah.
Philly too. Oh,
so it was like, when Carter hit that home run, to left field, it brought back that joy. Although it wasn't for the finals, it doesn't matter. But that's a rare occurrence in sports where, it ends with something like that.
Even when Vince missed the shot, it was against Philly.
Yeah,
remember that?
We got retribution, right?
Oh man!
But it was just that moment.
Yeah.
It was I would say one of the. If it was in the final game, obviously it would probably be the best shot ever. Yeah. But even if you go back and watch what the American media has made about one of the best shots in NBA playoff history, that has to be. Because it literally, it felt like it could go either way. Yeah. And then when it went down, it was like, and now if you go look at that picture and depending on the angle, you see all sorts of different people in it. Yeah. You had like Lloyd, the random guy in a suit, but then OG's behind there, and then Chris Boucher is there. Yeah. There's like so much of a story to tell in that, depending on the angle. Yeah. And to me, that has to be.
Great point, by the way. OG was missing for our playoff run.
Right.
So if they get Durant, we get OG.
Yeah, those.
We have a shot.
He hardly he was not available after he got that appendix removed. Yeah. He sat the whole rest of the season in the
Well, I've watched that video because I'm a psycho. Like I'll watch everyone's reaction. Yeah. So I'll rewind it, watch this guy's reaction, rewind it, watch this guy's reaction, watch this guy's reaction. Right? Just because you're so happy, you just want to see everybody like happy. So I've watched that clip so many times because of that, because we see so many players behind him and so many players in the court. But to answer your question, it's so tough, man. Like there's so many moments. But what I loved was that shot, when Van Vliet's on the ground and he has blood trickling down his face. Yeah. And then you see the slow-mo shot with his Band-Aid here and he just like like that moment was like, okay, these guys, okay, you know what, man? This might happen.
You just took my answer.
This might happen. Sorry.
No, that's great. That Van Vliet scream was the
Honestly,
scream I was doing at home
while
it was
gosh,
happening.
Man.
That was it. That was series.
Oh my gosh, man. Serious. Like that was like, you know what, man? Yeah. We got this. We got this. Yeah. And it made you because the thing is, I don't know about you guys, man, and this is probably the media's fault. U.S. media's fault. Like being a Raptors fan, they kind of make you feel like crap. Like, you're a Raptors fan? What's wrong with you guys? Hockey guys, you guys are soft, weak, this and that. When Van Vliet did that, it's like, no, man, no. We got this, right? And Van Vliet's that dog from Chicago, undrafted. You know what I mean? So that moment when I saw that, I was like, we got this. Sorry, Kumail, I apologize.
No, that's it. You got it. That's it. No, I was going to talk about. Honestly, I was just going to talk about Larry. The one point. S and I were watching Game 1, Orlando series together. And I want
Houston.
in Houston.
0 points?
First of all, I will say this about Lowry. That was one of the greatest 0-point performances. Because even though people were, just dogging on him saying, hey, how could you score 0 points against the Magic, right? Yeah. He had a good game outside of the points. That was the thing about Lowry is he had impacts that go beyond the box score, right?
But they lost the game though.
They lost the game, and
that's the key thing. That's why it stung. If they won the game,
it took a DJ Augustine, pretty much buzzer beater down the three. Yeah. no, and it was funny because you should have seen Essen's reaction after that. He's when we left.
I was sour.
Essen's soft spoken, but sports.
He's like, this team is never gonna win. It's like they're never gonna accomplish anything, and he was truly upset, right? That's as close as tears as I've seen S&B.
Plus, we have a track. The Raptors have a track record of losing game 1 every season.
Yeah.
It's like Orlando. You can't beat Orlando. Come on, man.
That was heartbreaking, man. But for me, so my favorite moment was the shot, but. I'm going to say that another moment that I really enjoyed was the Milwaukee series. I don't remember which game it was. Maybe it was the double OT game or game 5 or 6 maybe, when Kawhi dunked on Giannis.
Oh, when Kyle passed it back to him?
And he jammed it on Giannis. And
lefty dunk.
Felt, just like you said, when Freddie screamed, that was my moment. I was like, we got this,
Right.
And then seeing Larry smile when they knew they were going to the finals.
Yeah, that was a happy moment.
That was beautiful, man. So that was really, really fun to watch. But I feel like we're kids, talking about the Raptors. So
it feels great.
It feels good to talk about it, and there's so much more to talk about. But I want to move on to the next topic. So we're going to segue into our next mini topic, which is the GOAT debate. And we're going to talk about who we think is the greatest of all time when it comes to the NBA. And I'm going to let you guys take it one by one. We've got guys from different eras, different generations on this podcast. I don't know what Kumail's doing, but
Professor.
Abbas, I want to start with you, man. There's been a lot of chatter about these millennials these days who haven't seen Jordan play, who just makes absurd comments. Respect to LeBron, but the disrespect to Jordan now, it's personal now. So who's the GOAT?
I don't understand what's going on here.
I don't know.
Just getting ready. I'm just this is now this is a business conversation.
Is it? Okay.
So I'm just getting ready for it.
This is what you talk about in the hood, man.
No, I'm just getting ready for it.
Dress up like this.
We're just gonna get ready. That's it. All right.
Oh, you're like that picture of LeBron when he's down 3-1, and he has the headphones and sunglasses.
Okay.
Let's go. He's going into hiding. That's what happened.
Let's go.
He wants to go into hiding.
No.
No,
I don't think you guys are ready.
Explain to him.
You know what? I don't think you guys are not ready. We Sajjad made a comment earlier.
Why don't you let him go first?
No.
Why don't you go first? No, you know what? No, hold on.
But Sajjad made a comment earlier. He said, this is not a debate, right? And I'm here to prove that. This is not a debate.
You know what? I will let him go first.
Come on, you go first.
Look at this. How can I go first after this performance?
All right, I'll start. First of all, I don't believe in the GOAT. I don't believe there's a GOAT in the NBA, right? But if there had to be one, there's no one else but LeBron. But I'll tell you why I don't believe in the GOAT. I think the game has changed tremendously, right? You look back, years back, like if you want to talk stats, there's no one greater than Wilt, right? If you want to talk about Jordan's era, there's no one greater than Jordan. If you want to talk about now, longevity, accolades, stats, everything, it's LeBron, right? But if we're gonna, if we're gonna be gung ho and we're gonna keep talking about this, go, there's absolutely no way that it can be Jordan. And I'll prove it to you guys. Don't worry, I'll prove it to you guys. But there's no way it can actually be Jordan. But I believe, can you imagine a 30% three-point shooter right now in the NBA becoming the GOAT? There's no chance, right? Right now, if you had to take a player with Jordan's usage, which is the greatest in NBA history, by the way, at 33%, right? If you put those stats, you know who Jordan is at those percentages? DeMar DeRozan.
Wow.
Let's start.
All right. With a little better defense is what I'll say.
Kobe Bryant
God.
inspired.
A little better defense.
With
a little better defense.
Both inspired. Like, which kid says, "Oh, I want to be like LeBron"? They might cheer for him, but
I'm not saying he has the most aesthetically pleasing offense. I'm not saying that or game, right?
How many championships has he
Like
lost?
more guys are gonna
How many championships has he lost?
Who?
LeBron.
LeBron, he went. What did he lose?
You have to calculate.
He went 9 and 10.
And how many did he win?
He's won 4.
Okay. How many times did Michael Jordan go?
He went 6 times.
And how many times did he win?
He won 6 times.
End of story.
So that's your story?
Debate over.
No, that's great. That's your story?
That is the and
That's your story?
Let me add.
Who is the greatest team that Jordan beat in the finals?
I mean, I don't need to know if he's 6-0.
Who's the greatest team that Jordan beat in the final? That's a simple question.
Well, he beat.
Did he ever beat the greatest team in NBA
No,
history?
because he was the greatest team.
He was never the greatest team.
He was the greatest.
No,
team.
okay.
In that era, he was the greatest. team.
Absolutely.
Let's backtrack.
In that era.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. In that era. That's what I'm saying. In that era, you want to give Jordan the GOAT title? By all
No,
means, go
but
ahead.
See, the thing is, they
In
say
this
LeBron
era-
faced the monster.
In this
the problem
era-
is that
LeBron, how many top
Michael
15,
was the monster.
How many top 15 players did LeBron face, and how many top 15 players did Jordan face on their way?
Can't wait for you to finish.
Right? No,
Okay.
I'm
So let's
asking you a
say-
question.
Let's
I'd
say
like an
you,
answer.
you
There's
look
nothing.
at pure, like the problem in today's game, everyone wants to do the analytics and all that, which is great. But what a sensible person would do is look at a track record. So let's say if I'm going to buy a car, am I going to buy a car that is, has a 30% success rate, when I take it out, or 100% success rate? So
So we're not going to count the years that Jordan didn't get to the finals and was getting bounced first round. We're not going to count that.
No.
We're not going to count that.
Okay.
Right. So we're not going to count that. We're not going to.
Jam.
We're not going to count
Which
it.
kid said, "Oh, I love LeBron James Space Jam."
That was
It was Michael.
So then we were taking Ray Allen and Jesus Shuttlesworth.
That was a great movie as well. But the other
we're
thing
taking
is,
that.
which shoes? Okay, so LeBron sells like a lot of shoes, but which shoes do people want to buy?
are we talking
Little
about
kids,
shoes?
because that proves the fact that he is the greatest.
It doesn't, because right now, if you watch kids play, right? If you go to a pickup game, what are guys doing on a fast break? They're pulling up from 3-point line because they've seen Steph do it, right? Every single kid nowadays.
That's not LeBron. Where's LeBron?
That's exactly my point.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
So Steph's the goal?
But I'm saying that's why there's no
Even
argument
Steph
for that.
does not
That's not
have
a
a
valid argument.
6.
People want to be Jordan. People want to be Kobe. People want to be
Who
Steph.
did
That doesn't make you
LeBron
the
and
GOAT.
Kobe both want to be?
That doesn't make you the GOAT. LeBron never wanted to be Jordan.
Yes, he did.
Never wanted to be
back in
Jordan.
Why is he 23?
Is he playing?
He's 23.
Is he playing Jordan? Is he playing Jordan?
This is MJ.
Is he playing Jordan's
23.
game? What is he closest? Always, what do they say? Who's the closest player
Go back
to
and listen to what
Jordan?
he said
To
when he
LeBron's
was younger.
He's in high school.
It's always Magic,
He's-
isn't it?
No. So
No,
you don't
his
even know
game.
what your goat.
I'm saying his
Chosen
game.
one, the
His
chosen
game.
one, the king.
What's
He
LeBron's
aspired-
game? What's LeBron's game like? Is what I'm saying. When he came into the
Go
league,
listen to what he says.
he doesn't want to be Jordan. He already believes he's the GOAT. Right?
So
does he not believe he's the
now
GOAT? Doesn't he
changing his
believe he's
tune
number one?
because of people saying stuff like that, right? When you have to
Okay.
continually profess that you're the greatest, you usually aren't.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael Jordan never has even tried to attempt. Meanwhile, we're having this debate. He just made like what, $2.5 billion?
$3
And then which logo? So you have the Jerry West and you have the Nike. But on the alternate jerseys, whose logo is it? It's the Jumpman. LeBron is not going to get, his logo on the jerseys.
Again, I don't think these are arguments
Abbas,
for
you've been
Jordan
quiet for a while.
be the GOAT.
I wanna hear Abbas's,
I'll give him the floor, but those are not arguments for the GOAT. There's absolutely no stats. There's absolutely no
6-0. That's the only stat that matters.
So what about all of the times that he didn't get to even the second round, the third round, the finals? What about them? Why does it not matter? Why does it not
Because
matter when
it
he
doesn't.
lost? It only matters
So
when
we
he
were talking
wins.
about Kawhi was one and done. Mashallah, he was doing good. But now with Jordan, 6-0. Like 6, and that was the fun. Like the Washington should not even be brought. He was he was feeling guilty that he picked Kwame Brown, so he had to come back and redeem himself. But
Makes sense. So the years where Jordan didn't do well don't count. When he does well, they count.
When you say he didn't do well, who did he have on his team other than himself? Scottie Pippen?
No,
You're saying before Pippen?
Yeah.
Yes.
LeBron,
No.
Pippen.
Who did he have?
Oh no! Thank you for bringing this up. Thank you for bringing this up. Who was the second best player when LeBron won 66 games on his team?
That was you're talking about the Cleveland?
Was it Boobie Gibson?
But
Sasha
then, but he
Popovich?
didn't win, so it doesn't matter. So then he has to go join. He has to call up Chris and he has to call up Dwayne and say, "Listen, let's just get together."
that proves my point.
Jordan never did that. Jordan never. Like, who are his role players? Bill Wennington.
Again,
Joe Bushler.
You know what? I'm about to let you guys take the floor. I'm gonna let you take the floor.
All right, let
you
Abbas,
just, you
speak
just
his
let me
mind.
know.
Yeah.
You just let me know the greatest team that Jordan beat in the finals, and then we'll come
He
back.
beat teams that were led by John Stockton and Karl Malone.
So is that the
Twice.
greatest? Is that the greatest team then?
greatest is all subjective.
Yeah.
There's so many variables. But when you go 6-0,
So if it's subjective, then mine is LeBron and yours
you
is
can
Jordan.
have it. No,
Because I'm telling
Jordan.
you, objectively, it's going to be LeBron. And we're going to get to it. Don't worry.
All right,
Go ahead,
Abbas,
Abbas, go
your
for
turn,
it.
man.
Go
Come
for
on,
it.
you
My
got
turn?
enough
Okay.
ammo here. Yeah.
Is it my
6
turn?
and 0.
Is it my
Abbas's
turn?
turn. Let's go.
All right. So
We're
let
two
me
Jordan fan here.
let me preface this. Okay. I am in no means a LeBron hater. Okay, because the thing is when you think MJ is the greatest of all time, you are automatically known as a LeBron hater. I am not a LeBron hater. Okay, number one. I think that when it comes to the history of the NBA, there's been no player in the history of the NBA more scrutinized than LeBron James. And for him to accomplish what he has, being so scrutinized, being under the magnifying glass so much, is nothing but unbelievable. Like what he has accomplished is great, okay? And I think off the court, I think he's the GOAT off the court. Now, when we talk about the GOAT, okay, I really don't think it's about stats. I don't. Because I can show you stats where MJ is ahead of LeBron. I can show you stats where LeBron is ahead of MJ. Kareem probably has the greatest resume in the history of the NBA, okay? Is Kareem known as the greatest of all time? Generally, no. You'll have maybe one or two guys who say it. But generally, it's about LeBron and Mike, right? And I can give LeBron his flowers. A lot of times, there are insecure MJ fans, right, who what they do is that they need to put LeBron down because they feel so threatened that LeBron, because nobody has been, even Kobe, nobody has threatened MJ's GOAT title more than LeBron, okay?
Agreed.
So what happens is that, and people know that, in the media and stuff, what they do is they put LeBron down because they feel like he's coming close to MJ. Thing is that they're not secure in their MJ stance when it comes to the GOAT. Yeah. So going back to my point, it's not about the tangibles when it comes to the GOAT. It's about the intangibles, okay? It's not about stats for me. MJ, when it comes to the intangibles, is far ahead than anybody who I've ever seen. When you have a guy, the thing is, you're measured by winning, okay? When you have a guy, like we talk about Kawhi, right? Give me the ball, move out of the way. That was MJ's ammo, right? LeBron wasn't like that. LeBron, I think, was more timid when it comes to clutch situations. Like, you can't be like, okay, LeBron has the ball. All right, man, just move back. He's going to take over. No, because he becomes a little passive, okay? And he passes the ball when he could have gone to the hoop. And sometimes they say that he doesn't want to go and take the foul because he's a poor free throw shooter down the clutch, right? There are lines like that.
You made 2 points. I'm just going to bring it up. That's great. I think that they're the right points. Stats don't back you up, but they're the right points, right? LeBron makes the right play. It doesn't always mean he's going to take it to the basket and score or stop for a jump shot where Michael would. Michael would take those attempts where LeBron doesn't necessarily do that. So against like the Mavericks, for example, which is the one blemish that LeBron has that I will absolutely own that he has, is he should have won that series, right? So, but he passed it. He made the right play, but the right play and the winning play sometimes can be different. So I agree with you there, right?
So at the end of the day, I know we look at all stats, points, rebounds.
No.
Assists,
Even
and
clutch. Yeah, even clutch.
When we look
That's
at,
what I was going to bring up. But yeah,
LeBron, all around game, points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah.
But let's be real, okay? Let's be real. When it comes down to what stat matters the most, it's points, okay? A team who out-rebounds another team doesn't win the game. A team that out-assists another team doesn't win the game. It's the team that has the most points, okay? And Kobe, to an extent, did that. MJ was the master at that. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Yes, you want to make the right play, assist, rebound, whatever, at the clutch thing, but it matters who is putting the ball in the basket. And nobody did that better than MJ. Point number one. Point number two, you alluded to this. People came to MJ to win championships.
At what efficiency?
MJ didn't go to players to win championships. Rodman came to MJ. Tony Kukoc, Scottie Pippen, well, he was drafted, right? These guys came to MJ to win championships, okay? Point number two. Point number three, you mentioned greatest teams and this and that, and MJ losing. Here's the key point. Those losses that he had with Detroit and Boston, right? They were building MJ to become the champion that he did. Once MJ got to the top of the mountain, nobody took him off. LeBron got to the mountain. Oh, here comes Steph. Thank you. My turn. LeBron gets to the top. Oh, here comes Grant.
So we're not, again, after the first 3 championships, we're not going to count the time when he lost in the playoffs. before his next three-peat.
Who?
Jordan.
No,
He
because of what I'm
games.
saying. Because once he got on top of the mountain,
Yeah, so he won.
He was on top of the mountain and nobody took him off.
Right, first three-peat.
Yeah.
Then he lost in the playoffs. Again, scrubbing history
but
here.
that was-
He lost in
Can
the
I-
playoffs.
can I say
wait,
that?
that's because he left. No, he left.
He didn't play
Yeah.
half the
He
season.
left,
came
and then
back.
he came back half
for
a
17
season.
games.
They lost
against
Orlando.
They lost against Orlando. But what does a GOAT do? What did the Last Dance teach us? It's not about winning.
I don't know. It's
no,
Jordan propaganda. So I'm not going to watch it.
It's not
I'm not
about.
gonna watch
It's not
it.
about winning.
And when
It's
did the
not-
last
hold on,
dance
it's not
came?
about winning.
When did the last dance
Yeah,
come?
for sure.
As soon as LeBron won, he's like,
Look,
let me just put this out there because I'm
MJ
insecure. Because
look,
I'm insecure.
I will tell you right now.
When did Air come?
MJ is a jerk. I'll tell you, MJ is a jerk.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
That's why I say off the court, LeBron's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Unblemished record, except maybe for the decision that we talked about.
Yeah.
Other than that, unblemished. We know MJ's gambling habits. We know all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about on court right here.
Okay, yeah.
The GOAT for me is always about how you react when you lose. He lost Orlando. What did he do next season? He got in shape, shot the movie, swept Orlando the next season. That's how you. That's a GOAT. That's how you react. That's my third point. Fourth point, and I'm gonna leave it at this. If you are a GM and you have the number one draft pick, you have prime LeBron and prime MJ. Who are you gonna pick as number one overall?
Jordan.
That's it. Like that's for me. That's it. That's what concludes the GOAT. Again, number one in points in regular season, playoffs. He owns playoffs. Longevity is actually to his attribute. If you ask me, people are like these are longevity stats. Well, year 20. Show me a guy who could play like LeBron and bring in those numbers like he did. Puts $1 million a year to his body. That's great. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. 6-0, but winning in general. MJ is a better winner than LeBron. In the whole scheme of things, that's why for me, MJ will always
Can
be the
I
GOAT.
say something?
But
If you don't mind, can I
by
say
the
something?
whole scheme of things,
Hold on.
it's not
Wait,
true.
wait,
He's not a big winner.
let me say that.
But I just want to
Wait,
know
wait.
what its prime is. That's all. I just want to
let
see
me- let me
what
say
is
that.
Jordan's prime.
Let me say
The
that.
6 championships? Is that what we're counting?
Let me answer that. Jordan's prime
Yes.
Yeah.
was, in my opinion,
The years he won and the years he lost doesn't count. Yeah, continue.
no, we're talking about his prime.
His prime.
No,
What
his
are his
prime
what is
was during
prime?
the years that he
What is
lost.
prime? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Sure,
Okay,
I'll give you
fine.
that.
Okay.
But
LeBron lost in his prime too.
exactly.
I'm going to bring that up. But yeah,
Okay,
go
so,
ahead.
So I
Go
want to
ahead.
make a point here. Is that, like Abbas says, it's the intangibles. For me, I love LeBron. I think he's a great player. I think he's the second best player of all time. But the reason why we're comparing this is because we've all seen Jordan and LeBron play in our eras, right? We're in that age category where we can say we've seen Jordan. We haven't seen like Jerry West. So this is who the GOAT is in this generation in our eras, right? Jordan's mentality, I think you cannot say anyone has that close mentality. And the reason why is because when he came back, when he took
Kobe
those
had
2
it.
years,
Kobe had that
he had
mentality.
it. When Jordan came back, he took 2 years off to play baseball, right?
1.5.
1.5, okay.
Because he came back for that second
Okay,
season.
but
Lost his,
I would say
lost to
2 years
Orlando.
because that year when he came back,
Yeah.
he came back for half the season
Yeah,
and he
he-
lost. Fair enough. But when he came back, and the way he went and won 3 more championships, this guy had 2 three-peats. 2 three-peats. That mentality, I don't know if LeBron has it, but even if he did, that game when if you had to give the ball to somebody, game 7, 3 seconds left, who am I giving it to close the game? I'm not even gonna say Kobe. I won't say LeBron. I'm gonna say
if you have
Jordan.
MJ, Kobe, LeBron,
Give it to Jordan.
Shaq, Kareem, Shaq, Duncan, whoever's
Yeah.
on the court, that last shot is going to MJ.
I would say this. I would say LeBron would make a good pass to get Jordan open, but Jordan is going to make that last shot, and I'm going to bet on him to make that shot above anybody else. And that's my argument. Stats, I have stats in my mind. I don't want to make it analytical, but I'm talking about the
I really don't think
intangibles,
it's
the
about
mentality,
stats. Go ahead.
all that said and done.
So to me, it makes no sense if we're not going to talk about stats. But fine, let's not talk about stats. Let's talk about competition. All right.
Okay.
Who had better competition in their generation when they were playing? Was it Jordan?
That's arguable.
Tell me your
arguable.
honest
So
opinion.
I'll tell you my
I don't
honest
need
opinion
it.
about
Honest
that.
opinion.
I'll tell you my honest
You think
opinion
80s were tougher than right now?
I think that LeBron made so many appearances in the finals because the Eastern Conference in LeBron's time compared to MJ's time was weaker. The East was the beast in MJ's time. So his path to the finals was more difficult than LeBron's path to the finals. I'll give you, yes, Golden State, San Antonio, MJ did not play teams like that. But I'll tell you why. LeBron got to those finals to play against those teams because he had a weaker competition. MJ went through the trenches to get to the finals, right? So this is why I talk about the intangibles. Like it becomes really tough to measure when you talk about
competition. That's all I want to know.
Overall, MJ's competition.
It was
Overall,
greater.
Overall,
Okay.
yes.
How about you, Sajjad?
Overall.
What do you think?
Well, it was a more physical game.
It's a physical-
It was a completely
So
different game.
if you think MJ's competition was much more difficult than that era, than it is.
I'm
right
not
now.
gonna-
No, I know what you're doing. You're setting up to bring up stats. I know exactly.
I'm
what
not bringing up
you're
stats.
trying to
I'm
do.
asking you competition.
I know what you're
then
doing.
all I'm going to ask you
Well,
is
they had to
name
play-
one player. Name one player that could shoot like that. Name me one player
Okay, but
that
who
was
the-
like
who the
Durant.
Ralph?
Name me
See,
one player.
now-
Name me one
see,
player
now
that
we're
was as
talking about
good
eras.
as that was as good as.
Hold on.
said
So
you're
now we're talking about
comparing
eras,
eras.
man.
You're
If Dan
comparing
eras. No,
Marley
you're saying
played in this
competition.
era,
Yeah.
if Dan Marley played in this era, or Steph played in Dan Marley's era, then we talk about two different things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? The 3-point was not that prevalent.
Exactly.
Kareem won his
And it
scoring
goes back to my
points
point.
with one 3-pointer.
It goes back to my
LeBron,
point.
look at LeBron's. Most of them were 3-pointers. It's just different.
But it
eras
goes
at that
back to my point.
It's a
It's a
different
different game. You
Yeah.
cannot compare the generations.
No,
But
you
if you're gonna
can.
do it-
It's tougher.
If it was not tougher.
If MJ
Jordan-
played now,
Jordan,
he would average 40
Jordan-
points a game.
Jordan, okay, first of all, when Jordan came into the league, there were 23 teams. He did not ever, not even one game, take from Bird. One game, he didn't take it from Bird, right? His first
One game he take from what, sorry?
From
the
Larry
playoffs.
Bird in the playoffs. He never
Okay.
won one game
Yeah.
against Larry Bird and
Yeah.
the Celtics,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When they were there.
Yeah.
He when he got to the finals, he faced horrendous teams.
Which horrendous? team?
Horrendous teams. He faced Portland.
That's
he faced,
not fair.
He faced Lakers when there was no Kareem. Right?
Yeah, but they're still a good
it was,
team.
No, it was
They
not.
were a
Right.
good team. They were,
Wait.
I'll give you that.
When
Wait,
you
Eurostars
make
was
a
not
finals,
horrendous.
you're a good team.
They're a good team.
I mean, you could compare finals teams if you want,
Yeah.
like about the Golden State and San Antonio.
Portland will be one of the worst teams that have ever.
Clyde
that has ever-
Clyde
that has ever-
Drexler?
They were a
that has
good
ever-
team.
Who was the second best player on that team?
Who?
Terry Porter, I
Yeah.
think.
Bro,
Yeah, he was a good
You're
player.
discrediting Utah,
Horrendous.
though.
Sure.
Yeah,
Utah was a good team.
What are the second? Okay, when
Utah
when-
had
was a
like
good
two
team.
of the
When
greatest
Le-
players ever.
when
Yeah.
LeBron, okay, great.
Indiana almost knocked
who's-
off Jordan.
who is
that
the-
team was.
who
That's
is
why I
the-
said the Eastern Conference
Yeah.
is
Who is
beast
the
back then.
greatest power forward of all time?
Tim Duncan.
Right? Who's the second greatest?
Karl
Maybe.
Malone.
Probably.
Karl Malone?
Yeah, it's possible.
He's
No, you're
It's
out of your
possible. He's
mind.
up there.
if you
I mean,
Karl
let-
Malone is a
let me-
great-
let me-
Garnett?
But anyways,
let me-
it's
Then
Tim
who
Duncan.
is? Who is
Yeah,
that?
Garnett?
Tim Duncan.
Who is?
Garnett. I have Garnett as number one. Tim Duncan is two.
All right,
but
we got
we
about 1 minute left. I'm just gonna wrap it up.
LeBron. Okay, Jordan made the playoffs with a team that went 30-52.
Yeah.
30 wins.
Yeah.
That is not happening.
But he's 8th place, right?
Why? Because there were 23 teams and they
Yeah.
were trash, right?
Okay.
Then when
But he never won a championship during
No,
that.
no.
those years.
When he started winning, what happened? The league got diluted. It went to 25 teams. When did he win his second three-peat? League got diluted. It was 27.
Yeah, but then
teams.
all of LeBron's
Yeah.
teams are in the diluted
Yeah.
era.
No,
then.
because competition is better.
I would
That's
say,
arguable.
Athletes
Kumail,
are better,
in terms of,
competition
in terms
is
of
better.
competition, look, today's games have so much resources for their players. They're a lot bigger. They're a lot stronger. So from that standpoint,
But
okay,
everyone,
you can
it's
take,
like if everyone's
but if
better.
you were to put Jordan and his era in this resource-filled game, it would be the same thing. So we can't compare eras to eras because that doesn't make any sense. But at the end, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me
I was gonna
finish.
say we'll just compare LeBron to Jordan directly then.
We got to
It's fine.
again. We
6-0.
Yeah, we got to compare.
Enough.
What were his stats in the last three finals, Jordan's?
No, does anyone
I'll
remember?
tell you. 31-5-4. He shot 43%.
6-0.
43%.
Kawhi's stats were 42% in the finals, bro.
What was?
We
what-
still won.
Yeah.
Six
What was
and
what were
oh.
of all
what were
time.
LeBron's stats in his last three finals?
I didn't check that.
All right, 33, 10, and 9 with 55% shooting.
That's good.
He is more clutch when it comes to makes and takes, better
Go
percentages.
look at the players
We
that
can-
were
we can
ring
talk about-
chasing with them. Ray Allen was a ring chaser.
38-year Ray Allen. That's what we're comparing.
He's one of the best three-point shooters ever.
So when Jordan came,
Who were
came
Jordan's
back,
ring-
when
who were
he came
our
back,
ring
Okay, we're talking about
Pippen,
championships now?
Longley,
Okay,
Kukoc,
let's talk about
You know,
championships.
Rodman,
let's talk about
like,
they
championships.
were all
Let's
on the team.
Let's talk about championships, okay? Is Bill Russell considered the GOAT? No, he's not, even though he has more rings, right?
Exactly.
So it's the weight of the rings. Robert Horry has 7 rings. If he's not as great as LeBron, no, obviously not, right?
that's
So
exactly
the
what we're
weight
talking
of the
about.
rings
Are
is
different.
much more.
It's are different, right?
So MJ's rings are heavier than LeBron's.
How is it
How?
heavier?
Because he went to a super team and created. He went to Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to create those super teams. Lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay. Lost to San Antonio in a record finals margin. I know you guys have heard that in the past, right? And then he he won a bubble championship. Okay. The Cleveland one.
when he lost
the
to San
Cleveland one.
Antonio?
The Cleveland one when he's down 3-1. I'm on record to say, you can ask my friend. That's the greatest finals performance
was.
I've ever seen in history.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
LeBron. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's one. Okay. But when you go to Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and try to give yourself an advantage
And
by
still
trying to
lose
win
2 finals.
and
Like,
then lose to, they should have won 4
You had
straight.
the top
row.
one.
They should have won 1, 2,
MJ
and
had
4.
Judd Butler, Bill Wellington, Bill Cartwright. I'll give you Pippen.
Cartwright
but
was
honestly,
alright.
huh?
Cartwright was alright.
Was
He
he an
did
all-star?
really- he did really well. in
And
the playoffs,
LeBron has had
Have
more
you seen him
help.
shoot?
And LeBron has had more help throughout his whole career than MJ.
Absolutely
That's a
not.
fact.
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's
The
that's false.
No, the teams
That's
that
false.
LeBron was taking
Why don't we put
to
them
the
both
finals,
in 2K and simulate it and see what happens.
That's a good way to end it
who
off.
had the greatest?
We gotta close the.
Pippen with Horace Grant. Horace Grant was one-time All-Star. Pippen was All-Star. And come on, man.
When Jordan
Look at LeBron's help.
when Jordan left,
Intangibles,
right?
intangibles.
When Jordan left the Bulls,
Yeah.
they lost what, 2 less games the following year?
Sure.
When LeBron left, Cleveland got the number 1.
Well, now
overall
you're
pick.
praising Scottie
Right?
Pippen, right?
Oh,
No, no,
but
no.
guess what?
No.
It's about the Larry O.B., man.
No.
It's about the Larry O'Brien,
That's
my
what I'm
man.
saying.
All
So
right,
then
guys,
Bill
we're
Russell.
gonna
Then
make
Bill
this
Russell.
We're gonna make this
You
a
got
wrap,
Phil
guys.
Jackson.
Thanks so
Wait,
much for
Who does
joining us on
LeBron
the
have as
show.
an all-time coach?
We're
Wait,
gonna cut off. We're
Who
gonna
has
keep.
it?
Thanks, guys, for coming on the show, guys. Really had a lot of fun here. Before we close off, want to ask you guys what you guys are doing on the personal side, business, work, hobbies, whatever. Go for it, Sajjad.
So you can follow me on my Instagram. It's limitless.canada. We do a lot of basketball related sponsorships, supporting the community. One of the major ones, 5-Star Men's League. We do also with the CBL with the Honey Badgers, and a lot of different organizations support them through literacy, and just promoting the game of basketball for the overall well-being of your health, your mental mentals, and just improving yourself, right? So we all want to aspire to be. We can't all be Jordan, be 6-0, but we all want to keep on moving forward and improving and be the best version, or be your own GOAT, as Phil Handy says.
Nice. So first of all, thank you, Essen, for this. This was great,
pleasure,
man.
man. It was fun.
I have so much fun doing this stuff. Please follow me on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, same handle all across, at AJ360Slam. And please go to YouTube and subscribe to my podcast, the 360 Slam Podcast. Thank you.
You want to plug anything? Any last thoughts, comments?
Should we do it together? Go
Sure.
check out Idea Lab Kids.
Yeah.
We're in Pickering, Whitby, Richmond Hill, Stouffville, and Oakville, and more locations coming soon.
All right. Before we end off,
You have to deal with this every day?
every day, man. Every single day. Yeah.
That's 6-0 right there, bro. Essen 6-0 right there.
Listen, are we gonna go back to this? Because I got stats.
I wanna end this podcast off in good fashion. And Kumail, this is for you. Fate of the universe. Who do you got? Last shot.
I got Iguodala.
That's a wrap, guys. See you guys soon.